The Dallas Eldercare channel is brought to you by John Vermillion and the Vermillion Law Firm, who are pleased to welcome today's guest, Mary Kasinger, Administrator with Heritage Keepers.
Hi, this is John Vermillion. I am an elder law attorney in Dallas, Texas, and I'm one of the sponsors of the Eldercare channel. Periodically, we like to highlight some of the service entities that give service to our senior citizens, and today we are welcoming Mary Kasinger. Did I say that right?
That's right.
And your group is called Heritage Keepers.
Yes.
Mary, welcome to the Eldercare channel.
Thank you.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is tell us a little bit, by way of introduction, what your company does.
Okay.
Every senior citizen service provider has a certain niche, and what is your niche?
We are an in-home senior care.
Okay.
That we are faith-based, and that sets us apart from some of the other agencies.
Okay, indeed.
And we want to be that plug that completes their circle of care.
Okay.
When they have family, friends, community, and their church, and they just need that something extra to make their home life a little bit better.
You are not necessarily a medical provider, are you?
That's right. We are non-medical.
Non-medical activities of daily living.
That's right. We provide three types of services.
All right.
Companionship, homemaking, and personal care.
Okay.
And when you don't really need a full-blown maid and you don't need a medical personnel, well, we are that in between.
Okay, very good, very good. Now I have here a flyer that you've given me, and something you just mentioned was very important. You said on the back here you have what's called a circle of care.
That's correct.
And that includes family, friends, community, heritage keepers, of course.
That's right.
But church.
That's right.
And that's where the faith emphasis
right.
comes in. Well, what about our seniors who are, say, shut in and maybe aren't members of a church?
That's quite okay. We can go in and we can offer spiritual services if they desire, and that's really okay if they don't. But we want to be praying for them, and our caregivers pray for them, and our clients. A lot of them appreciate that, and some really don't want them to pray out loud with them, but they really certainly appreciate them praying with them or by themselves for them.
Oh, very good, very good. So it's sort of I call it a holistic approach. It's not only physical. It's also spiritual.
That's right.
So
absolutely.
I think that we can't really stress that enough.
That's
but,
right.
It's up to the individual. Now, let me ask you a question. I had this problem with my hard-headed German grandmother.
Okay.
And she didn't want anybody in the house, even nice people like heritage keepers. How do you handle those potential clients who simply just don't want anybody in the house with them? They're perhaps they need help, but they just won't accept it. How do you handle that problem?
I like to go in. We do what we call a client assessment.
Okay.
And we go in and I kind of talk to Grandma about how that it's just she has worked hard all of her life, and that it's really nice for you, the grandson, to come in and just be grandson to her instead of maybe having extra duties.
Let the professionals do what the professionals need to do, and let the family be the family.
That's right.
So, okay.
That's right.
It's
and sometimes
part of the circle of care.
That's right. And sometimes they accept that and they look at it. It's just a little bit different how you look at it. It's a little bit different take on it in their eyes.
So by taking that different take, you also have to be patient.
That's right.
And not threatening.
That's right.
Okay. Do you find that some of those people who originally object then sort of come around after time? Is that usually the case?
Yes, and I've always found in the years that I've been doing this is that when your loved one, your grandmother, for example, she can take ownership of this this decision, and that kind of eases the family up.
Well, you said something important. You bring the senior into the decision-making process.
That's right.
So often people talk around them, about them, but not to them.
That's right. That's
okay.
right. And that makes a whole lot of difference. Easier on the family. For example, if the family makes these decisions, well, then it's really hard for the loved one to accept it because they feel like a decision's being pushed on them.
True story. I get a lot of referral clients from a group down in Houston, and they have a big long hallway with a textured concrete floor, and they used to have a very long Persian rug type runner. And I get down there one week and it was gone. And I said, well, where's the rug? And they said, well, one of our senior citizens tripped on it
Mhm.
and we had to take it up.
Yes.
And you gave me, this is a home safety checklist that I've got in my hands for Heritage Keepers.
Uh-huh.
And this is something I was very impressed with, that not only are you obviously coming in to do an assessment of the
That's right.
person who needs care, but you
Uh-huh.
also do a home safety checklist to make certain that the home is safe.
That's right.
Because we want to keep people at home as long as we can,
Yes.
but one of the reasons people do go to facilities is for safety.
That's
So
right.
we don't want people to be at home and be in an unsafe situation. So
That's
tell me
right.
how this home safety checklist works.
We give that to the clients to make them aware, and also the caregivers.
Okay.
So when the caregivers go in, they can maybe assess, and just by eye, just things that are in the way that could cause a risk for fall.
Okay.
And we certainly don't want the loved ones to have that risk. And
Okay.
so we suggest, we don't ever force, but we suggest to the families, this rug perhaps might need to be moved, or
If you walked into a house though, you would immediately start seeing things
yes,
that need to be
yes,
addressed.
yes, absolutely.
What okay, now at what point would you say that your services would have to be supplemented by having a stay in a facility? I mean, how long can someone stay at home with the type of services you provide?
Um, well, for example, dementia. Let's take
Okay.
that. We have a lot of that, and so we can still, if as long as they know where the bathroom is, and
Okay.
they don't get lost in their own
Gotcha.
home,
Gotcha.
and we can certainly stay with them for as long. But now, if they get up and it's a risk for danger for them going out at night,
Okay.
and if there's no, and sometimes they really do know how to unlock the
Yes,
doors with
indeed. Yes,
deadbolts and
indeed.
that type of thing.
So you will
Then
make that recommendation to the
we
family then?
suggest, yes,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
suggest
Okay.
to the family, and obviously the physician has to make that determination with the
Okay.
family's decision.
What is your geographical area? I know you're in Dallas, but
Yes.
how far do you extend
We
around the
go
metropolitan area?
DFW area. A lot of our work right now is in the North Plano area
Okay.
and University and Highland Park, but we do service the DFW area.
Okay, great. Would you describe for me, give me an example of one of your clients who say for whom you went above and beyond the call of duty, something that set you
Yes,
apart. Yeah.
we had not too long ago, we had a lady in her 50s,
Okay.
and
Oh, that's
her,
kind of young. Yeah.
yes, it is. And her and her husband had several children, and they attended a large church in the DFW area. And the husband reached out to Heritage Keepers to say, I just need some spiritual support.
I see.
And so we uh, chose a caregiver to go and just really hold her hand and pray over her for 2 or 3 days a week,
Wow.
and just offer scripture, reading scripture to her, and just offered spiritual services to her. And that's really basically all we did for probably 4 to 5 weeks, the end of her
Wow.
life. And so
Wow.
the family really appreciated what we did for her.
Well, I think that's phenomenal. Um, is there, I guess, when should a family call Heritage Keepers? What would be some of the triggering observations that would say, well, we need some help for my parents? What would some of those triggers be for them to call any home health group, but particularly Heritage Keepers?
Whenever their loved ones, say for example, they're in question if they are taking their medication correctly,
Okay.
we can do reminder of medicine. We do not dispense, but we can remind.
Okay.
And when perhaps they're not eating properly.
Right. Right. That's a big
And
one. Yeah.
that's huge, because a lot of times their loved ones, it's too much trouble for them to go and prepare something. And so we can certainly prepare meals, and sometimes our caregivers, they will prepare ahead of time meals. Freezer meals is what we call them. And when they're there, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, well, especially on Friday, they'll prepare a little extra, put in the freezer so they
Right.
can just
Right.
pop in the microwave. So that is very helpful.
Well, I understand that, a lot of the facilities that we've become aware of, that particularly that treat dementia and Alzheimer's, are kind of really trying to get away from a drug regimen,
Mhm.
and are doing what regular nutrition is so critically important,
It is.
and also giving the residents in a unit that say is a memory care unit, for example, a little tablet that has pictures of family members, maybe their
Yes.
pet,
Mhm.
pictures of their home.
Mhm.
They have recordings of family voices. So
Mhm.
the idea that is to remind those people of how they're connected
Yes,
to their families and their homes. So the whole idea here, if we can keep people in their home longer, they're certainly going to be happier
that's right.
if we can satisfy all that. So I guess the goal here is let's keep people at home as long as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
There we
And
go.
we
There we go.
want to, and so a lot of times we do what we call medical transition,
Hmm.
is when they
Hmm.
have some temporary surgery or they're a stroke victim, but they're
Right,
having PT. And so they can come out of that.
right, right.
And that's what we want. We want them to be able to get well so they don't need us again.
Well, there
And
you go. Yeah. So
so
you
we
have
want to do everything we
there's a
can.
temporary function and there's then a more permanent
That's right.
function as well.
That's right. And we offer two different types of services. I don't know if you
Okay,
asked that. We do live in, where we do 7 days on and 7 days off.
gotcha.
And we also do hourly, where we
Hmm.
do, they're
Hmm.
hourly for as long as we need it.
From a cost standpoint, I guess 7 days on and 7 days off would be uh, sometimes it could even be more expensive than being in a facility. Is that correct? Is that possible?
It's about, I'm not sure, I haven't checked lately, but it is possible. Yes.
Okay, or the way it's structured is to be, I guess, cost competitive anyway.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people to be forced out of their homes just due to expense,
Mhm.
right? Is that
Right.
kind of
Oh, right.
so?
Absolutely. And that one-on-one, just in the
Oh
facilities,
yeah,
they're not,
yeah.
it's just not one-on-one like you get at home, the
Well, I
personal
hear
care.
that. It's kind of like education,
Yes, that's
like
right.
it's always better one-on-one.
That's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers about Heritage Keepers? That
Well, one question is that how do we obtain caregivers?
there you go.
And we do require a testimony of faith,
Okay,
and that's one requirement that we have. And we do background checks, and we always take it that extra step and calling their personal references and checking them out. And that's most difficult task, or it can be, is finding a good caregiver that really their heart and soul is into serving these clients.
somebody who has the circle of care mentality,
Hmm.
clearly,
Uh-huh.
the
Right,
whole thing.
absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll have your contact information with the
Yes.
video on the
Okay.
Eldercare channel.
Okay.
So
Thank
this
you.
is Mary Kasinger with Heritage Keepers.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you, John, for
we
inviting me.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you.